Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back here with Jaime Breeze live on our podcast, live on Zoom as well. She is our animal communicator, our spiritual guide advisor, and she's just someone who's amazing. She's got this energy and she can tap into those that have crossed. And she's here to give us all the positive and really talk about things that matter. And she can really help you in so many different ways with your animals, with your loved ones. Jaime Breeze, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks, Jill, for having me back on.
Well, thanks for being here. For those that may not know, would you mind just telling us a little bit more about yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jaime Breeze. As Jill mentioned, I'm a spiritual medium, psychic, and animal communicator. I work with both your loved ones and animals in this realm and in the afterlife. I can be reached at jaimebreeze.com, JAIMEBREEZE.com, and on Instagram at the Mountain Medium. And Jill, I have to say, you look so nice and fresh and spring-like today. I love that color on you.
It's funny. I bought this like for Macy's. I got a discount, but I never wear long sleeves because it kind of bothers me. But I'm in the mood to get a little color in today because now New York is super cold. I ran away for the weekend down to Antigua and got like 80-degree weather for 2 days. So I'm feeling more vibrant inside. But
yeah, I saw your post on Instagram. I was curious as to where you went.
I literally went away for 2 days. I came back last night.
Yeah.
But it was okay. It was fun.
Well,
I didn't get away from the kids much, but yes.
Yeah.
And then I'll post like next week and people think I'm still away.
Yeah.
I do everything late.
I was curious if today we were going to be talking and you were on the island because you said you were going to the island. So I was going to excited. And yeah, it's cold here. We just got new snow overnight and I put some of my winter stuff away yesterday and I always do it prematurely. Like our ski hill's open for another like 5 weeks. So I don't know what I was thinking, but I was manifesting spring.
Of course. We'll get through it. It's fine. But thank you. And what do we have in store today? What are we being guided to kind of enlighten the world with?
I really want to talk about animals and their infinite wisdom and knowledge that they have. So for those of you who don't know what animal communication is, it's connecting with our animals and based on telepathy. And telepathy is the transference of words, images, colors, thoughts, and feelings. It's the world's oldest form of language, Jill, but just as we grow, we are learned taught a verbal language. So we put our knowledge and skills of telepathy on the back burner.
In a sense. Yeah.
And so this is a skill that everyone has, and it's just a matter of retapping into it and growing that muscle back. And all our animals are telepathic, whether they're domesticated animals on farms or in the wilderness, they all communicate telepathically. And I love it. And it never ceases to amaze me the knowledge our animals have. And Jill, I have the most incredible story today, and I'm getting goosebumps like thinking about it already because this was just a recent communication. So a client and a friend who has now become a friend of mine contacted me. Her dog started having tremors, like mini seizures back in January. And they took her dog Bentley to the vet numerous times, and the vets could not figure out what was going on with Bentley. And he started banging into walls, being nervous of just walking and getting up, for fear probably of hurting himself by accident. So now my clients are nervous that Bentley's also losing some eyesight and all this other stuff. So I connected with Bentley a week and a half ago now. And, I wanted to do an energetic body scan on him. And I do this with all animals. So I tap in energetically to their physical body, and the animal will stop me at an area that they're not feeling good in or showing me that there's an issue there. And then we talk about it and they share with me any physical ailments or mental ailments or anything. So when I was connecting with this dog, he stopped me right at his head instantly. And he shared with me a feeling of lack of oxygen to his brain. And I was like, okay, this is making sense why you're probably like passing out, having these tremors, etc. But why is there lack of oxygen to his brain, right? So we continued down, and he showed me this pain in the back of his head and into his neck. And Jill, he told me he had some sort of tear in an artery in his neck. And that was causing all these things to occur, vision issues, and, be nauseous, and having this lack of oxygen to the brain. So and I'm not medically trained at all. So I make sure I tell my clients this.
Yes. Yep.
So any medical things I tell you from your animals, please, go to your vet and talk to them about it. You don't have to say where the information came from, but just go to the vet. And it was interesting because I instantly had intuitive hit of almost like a whiplash kind of scenario. So I asked Bentley, I was like, okay, so how did this tear in your neck happen? And Jill, he showed me swinging his neck around ever so quickly to look at something, just as you would do, and it tore. So again, not being medically trained, I Googled tears in neck creating lack of oxygen to brain, etc., etc. Okay, Jill, the first thing that came up was something called cerebral artery dissection. This is, you have two like carotid nerves or arteries in your neck. And when one of these tears, it creates lack of oxygen to your brain. You have vision problems, you can vomit, very disorientated, everything that Bentley has, right? So I looked up, what causes this?
Happen? Mm-hmm.
And Jill, it was so crazy because the most common acts can cause this. You can be reaching up to shampoo your hair, it says. You can turn around quickly, like is in Bentley's case. Simple yoga poses have actually caused this. Wow. Certain sports like basketball or tennis, because you're like bending backwards to like hit the racket or the ball with the racket. So all these things can cause cerebral artery dissection, even riding on a roller coaster and jumping on a trampoline.
Okay. Wow.
So, and the other thing is, this is extremely difficult for doctors to detect in humans. So let alone a vet with an animal. But Bentley knew this. He showed me whipping around to look at something, and then this tear in his neck occurred.
Oh my gosh.
And know what he said to me, Jill? He said, I want craniosacral therapy. And so I looked it up. I looked for ways to help with this tear. And the number one way is craniosacral therapy.
Oh my goodness. So now you go back to the owner and you tell the owner this.
Yeah. And they were just blown away at how smart and knowledgeable their dog was. And I gave them all this research, and I emailed my client and I said, I gave her links, and I found this woman in her area. She lives in Dallas, who does craniosacral therapy. There's a lot of doctors on there when I Googled it, but this woman just stood out to me because she was more on the holistic side. So I was like, give her a call because she might be willing to take on a dog patient. Wow. And so sure enough, this past week, Bentley went for his first craniosacral therapy treatment. And they sent me photos in this clinic with this woman and getting this done. And they have seen a huge improvement so far. So he's going to go continue to get this done and try and get him back to where he was. He also said, if that doesn't work, I'll try acupuncture. But I prefer cranial. He's like, I prefer craniosacral therapy.
Oh my
gosh.
Is
that not wild? Like how?
It is beyond how you can't explain that. It's just so real. It's so if anyone's listening to this thinking this is impossible, it is possible. To proven, time proven over again and again, all your stories of how, and this is a smart dog to know all these terms and he needs cranial sacral therapy. Now, did they also take the dog back to the vet yet? Or there's nothing medically they could do technically for a tear like this
No,
anyway?
Unfortunately, they were really disappointed in their vet, so they will not be going back to him. They did some very invasive things to Bentley where he's actually quite traumatized from. He's going to be getting his eyes checked on this Tuesday as well. But again, we're hoping the cranial sacral therapy will help get the oxygen flowing back into his brain where his eyesight will become better. And the thing is, Jill, all our animals have this knowledge. They're just so tapped into the universal energies around us. So self-diagnosis has been a common pattern that we've seen through animal communication. And they just have this innate knowing. And I don't know the full story behind it. I'm learning still, like, where is this coming from? Are you tapped into a higher source? Is that where the information is coming from? That's what I believe. So our animals are just so wise and so smart.
Wow.
Like, I just can't.
That story is amazing. So Bentley's in Dallas, he's in Texas. Wow. I mean, we've talked quite a few times about certain times where you made these medical, even with my own cat, you told me you felt, you Googled, and you were telling me what you think is wrong with him. And he's been okay lately, just to let you know, but clearly there's an issue with him. But you said the same thing to me. You said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not this, but I'm feeling this. And Cuddles is saying this. And it's like, there's no other way. Clearly you have this knowledge, you can hear it, you can, it's amazing.
Yeah. And then, so Bentley, on another note, he told me that his dad was barbecuing chicken and makes this like really amazing spicy homemade sauce. But dad hasn't been giving him the chicken with the sauce. And so he's upset about that. So I asked, because I had both his mom and dad on my call. And his dad's like, well, yeah, I do make a homemade spicy sauce for my barbecue chicken, but I don't give it to Bentley because it's going to be too spicy for him. But Bentley is like, no, Dad, the sauce isn't going to be spicy for me. I want it. So now he gets his barbecue chicken with his spicy sauce and gets to go to cranial sacral therapy.
And now this woman only worked on humans before, but like she was open. Wow.
Yeah. So because she had a holistic website, she taps into other kind of modalities and stuff, more like Eastern medicine and stuff. So I thought she'd be a good person to reach out to see if she'd be willing to take on a dog. So,
and since then, has Bentley told you he's feeling okay or doing well? Did he talk about his experience with you? Can you just tap into him at any time to check on him, or how does that part work?
I haven't yet, Jill. I've just been super busy, but I'll definitely tap in again with him and just double check on him quickly and see what's going on. Maybe after Tuesday, maybe after his eye appointment Tuesday, I'll check in on him.
Beautiful story. Thank you. Wow.
Yay. Yeah. And then this week I was also working with this beautiful cat who had to move from Milan, Italy, back to the United States. This cat's family took him and his cat sister to Italy a couple years ago for work, and now it's their transition back to America. And my client reached out to me because, Bentley's not here we go. Finn is not the greatest traveler. Cats aren't keen on car rides, airplane rides. Some are, but most of them aren't, right? So Finn's parents wanted me to check in to give Finn an update. Hey, you're going to be safe. This is how it's going to work. We have to go back to the States. You have 2 big plane rides to go on. So when I tapped in with Finn this week, Finn was telling me, I'm stressed. I'm not looking forward to this. I'm angry. I don't want to go. So in this case, Jill, what I did was some visualization steps with Finn and to calm Finn down. Okay, Finn, this is how it's going to happen. You're going to go in your cat carrier. You're going to go for the taxi ride to the airport. Then you're getting checked in and then on airplanes. So what Finn needed from me was a step-by-step process of how the day was going to look for him. And that's important for our animals. They don't want to be left in the dark. They want to know what is going on. And I've said this before, you know, let your pet know what the plan for the day is. You know, mom has to go to work. I'll be home at dinner. Then we'll go for another walk, etc. It's very important to them. So in this case, Finn needed to know the steps he was taking on this big journey. He also really needed to know he wasn't going to be left alone. His sister was going to be beside him. His mom was going to be sitting there, as well as his aunt was going to be on the airplane. And that was huge for Finn. He just needed that reassurance. How scary would that be? A 16, 20-hour journey and not knowing if you're going to be taken away and put somewhere or whatnot, right?
That is. Oh my gosh.
You know, and so Finn also said, when we get to our hotel, when we get to our hotel, I want to sleep on the white sheets. Well, I didn't know this at the time, but my clients had to rent an Airbnb for a couple days before their new home is ready. And Finn wanted the bed with the white sheets in the Airbnb.
Oh my God, how cute,
and so,
how specific.
And so his aunt showed me a picture of their Airbnb, and there was one room with a bed with white sheets. And it was funny. They both started laughing. And they said, it's funny because Finn won't go on colored or patterned material. So if you have a bedspread that is not white, Finn won't jump up on it.
Wow.
So it was so interesting. So Finn knew that they were going to be at an Airbnb, but I heard the word hotel, with white sheets on one of the bed. So it shows you, Jill, that our animals are also psychic. They do know what is coming up for them in certain circumstances like this. Then Finn also wanted to share with me an image of his new house he's going to. So I described this house to his mom and aunt, and they confirmed everything that Finn had seen. So Finn had tapped in psychically to his new home, and he was showing me how excited he would be when he got there. But it was cute because he wanted a reward for making this journey and being a good boy. So he wants white silk sheets for the new bed at the new house, he said. And he wants his aunt to cook him a fish.
Oh, okay.
And it was funny because I didn't know at the time, but his aunt is actually a pescatarian. So she does a lot of seafood cooking, fish cooking, and she always shares it with Finn and Finn's cat sister. So they're going to get Finn white silk sheets for the new bed.
God. That is awesome.
Yeah. So they actually contacted me a couple days ago to let me know they had arrived at their Airbnb, and Finn did phenomenal. Normally when they put Finn in a cat carrier, he'll go to the bathroom right away because he's mad,
nervous, or angry.
Yeah, or nervous. Yeah. And he didn't have an accident until they landed in Atlanta. And by that time, he had to go.
Yeah.
So he did amazing. He didn't cry. He sat the whole way, just phenomenal. So it was important for Finn, just to have that reassurance. You're not going to be taken away. Your mom's going to be right there. Your sister, your aunt, and he came through, and I was checking in on him all day during his journey. And I was like, he seems good. So I hope I'm understanding him right. And so when I got the email from his mom saying they had arrived at the Airbnb and she said he was good, I was like, okay, thank goodness.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. Right. And so just, with Bentley tapping into his universal wisdom of his body and what will help with that, to Finn predicting, we're going to be at this Airbnb and this is what my new house in Atlanta looks like. Our animals are just so amazing and so smart, and we just have to start recognizing that.
Yeah. Wow. Now, do humans have this telepathy as well, but we really push it away because we're just so we're learning the language, we're learning to talk, and we communicate all the time differently. We have different expectations. So it's just a matter of, I guess, them being a little more primal, a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? But like, cause we are so like programmed, they're so like not programmed.
Yeah, and it's really frustrating because it's hard for us not to be programmed, with technology, and we have to get up and go to work and do all these things. And by the time you get home, you're exhausted and you just want to like
Yeah.
kick back, have a glass of wine, watch a movie or whatever, or you actually have to go pick up the kids now, and then you have to get their lunches ready for the next day. When do people have time?
Yeah.
It's very hard. And then, your weekend comes around and you have all these chores and soccer practice or hockey practice. And it's been hard in our society for a lot of people to get back into that innate knowing. But maybe if everyone starts giving themselves 5 minutes every morning, just 5 minutes, wake up earlier, and just try and meditate and go within, I think it's just going to really bring out people's deep sense of knowing.
Yeah. I love it. Love it, Jamie. I love all your stories. And, you clearly, you're here with us on the podcast. You also have another job besides this. And this is pretty big though. I mean, I've talked to a lot of psychics, mediums, but never really someone who's focused on animal communication. You do both, but it's amazing. What a niche. How did you get chosen for this? Do you know, like, do they tell you like why you're so special and why you're able to, what is it about you that has made them come to you and open up? Do you know that answer? Is it?
I don't know it fully, but it is my life mission. So I came back to this earth to, work on this and spread the word. I believe. I did remember a few past lives when I was born. So I truly do believe this is my last life on earth. And so it's my duty to kind of spread this word and knowledge and try and bring other people into this realm. But again, anyone can do it. So it's just a matter of if you want to and what your path is. And this is mine. So whether I don't know if I was chosen, but I think there's a lot of us out there who are doing this work, and there's billions of animals on the planet, and so there needs to be more animal communicators and people tapping in as well, because I can't connect with all of those. I'll never have the time, so there's a lot of chosen, if you want to say people, but a lot of people who are enlightened and who can do this work. I do teach Animal Communication 101. It's a 3-module program. So if anyone's listening who is interested in this line of work, whether on a professional level or just to be able to talk to their animals themselves, I have a wonderful program, and my students come out of it just so proud of themselves. We work with my cat actually, and Breeze, my dog, but mainly my cat in this program. And on week 2, you're speaking to my animals.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I love it. So you do these classes online, or they
via Zoom?
Okay.
Via Zoom, because as you know, Jill, I'm in Northern Canada, and so all my clients are international. So it's a one-on-one program because I want to focus on you and your needs and your growth and your strengths and weaknesses. So instead of a big class, I want to focus on you solely.
Aww.
Yeah, so it is a one-on-one program. We work around your schedule for 3 weeks, or you can do it in a course of months, depends on what you want to do, how you want to do it. But it's a fabulous program, and people come in nervous and not thinking they have the telepathic abilities and psychic abilities, and they do. They do.
I love it. Now, does anyone else in your family have this gift? Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they do, whether they've really tap into it or not. Yeah, my brother actually won the lottery one year by dreaming of numbers, but he's a machinist and a real estate agent, so he doesn't really tap into this much, but he has the knowing. My mom does as well. My sister, she's really into holistic therapies, and yeah, so but it's everyone's journey and how they choose to do it and utilize their powers and innate abilities.
Beautiful. And what else do you want to share with our listeners today? We still have just 3 minutes left here, hon.
3 minutes. Oh boy. I do have tons of stories, but maybe I'll wait till next week so we have more time for those. But again, it's just a matter of understanding. I really want to share with the world the universal wisdom our animals have, and they all have it. And if we just take a moment to honor that, because so many animals, Jill, are suffering on this planet, and it's awful. And, you know, just knowing how wise they are, and then they're put in cages or, you know, experimented on or, you know, slaughtered. It just breaks my heart. You know,
about that this weekend, because the Sun Block said animal cruelty free, this and that, and then I was like, well, what does that mean? But who's putting sunblock on an animal? I'm like, no, isn't it like Procter and Gamble? I remember years ago they would like take Noxzema and they do tests on animals, see how it reacts on them, like put sunblock in their eye, I don't understand. So my friend didn't even know about and I'm like, that's horrible. It's animal cruelty, animal testing. Like, what? Ew, why?
It breaks my heart. It makes me sick. And I just really I hope by spreading these messages, something will change.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's just for one animal, I mean, maybe it can start a ripple effect. But there's got to be something out there. We just, as humans, have turned so cruel. And again, I mentioned this before, I'm not preaching like veganism, but, you know, just learning where your food comes from, I think can make a huge difference in how animals are killed for food. Like, be more cautious of that, you know, farm to table versus mass slaughterhouses, for one, could make a huge difference. We have a lot of local farms around this area, and I know a lot of people, you know, they really honor their animals before they take their lives for food and sell them in the market. And, you know, that's better than...
There's a lot to be said for that. Really, it is.
Yeah.
I understand it's part of life as well, but I get it. Yes. And I do eat meat, but not much, but still, that just makes it a better way of life.
Yeah.
And love and kindness. And
so anyways, you know, that's part of my mission, is to spread the word, and hopefully it just makes people more aware and honor their pets more, and, you know, go home and, you know, tell your dog or cat how much you love them and appreciate them. And that's huge for them.
Yeah, you have such a big heart. I love it. And you're here and enlightening us as always. And you guys, I'm on the live Zoom with her as well, so I get to see her beautiful smile, but just emanates and glows when she's talking about this. Clearly, it's what she's destined to do and she loves to do. And she can help you do this and tap into your animals, whether they're sick, fearful, something's wrong. And humans too. So call Jaime Breeze, and it's spelled JAIMEBREEZ.com, and the Mountain Medium on Instagram.
Yeah, you got it.
Do you want to give out a phone number, hon?
Yes, 778-668-0341. You can reach me at any time.
Perfect. Well, great story and good luck. And I want to hear the follow-up next week about how the dog is doing with the cranial sacral therapy in Dallas.
Yeah, I'll give you an update for sure.
Thank you, Jaime. Have a great day. And everyone,
we'll see you next week.
See you soon.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, you know, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean,
It's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.